The alcoholic beverages industry is concerned about a new set of regulations published by the government at the beginning of November this year. The regulations are among the subsidiary legislation intended to implement the Sustainable Waste Management Act's ambition to curb the careless disposal of solid waste. The regulations intend to promote sustainable waste management by extending producers' responsibility. Thus, they are referred to as the Sustainable Waste Management Extended Producer Responsibility Regulations 2024 EPR regulations. The alcohol industry supports initiatives geared towards sustainability, having invested in the biggest self-regulating take-back schemes in Kenya and multi-million-dollar initiatives to drive reduction in carbon emission and waste through circularity. The beer take-back scheme has been in operation for decades and continues to work efficiently to date. Manufacturers have established programs to extend this take-back scheme to spirit bottles. In addition, our members have registered with producer responsibility organizations and established frameworks and plans for collection of post-consumer waste. While we support all efforts to promote sustainable waste management, we are afraid that the EPR regulations are more likely to impose an unnecessary and heavy financial burden on the manufacturing sector. The regulations carry the risk of making businesses untenable, as they would increase the cost of making goods and drive it so high that the goods will be unaffordable to make and sell to consumers. The regulations propose to impose fees to be paid on a wider range of packaging materials for both hazardous and non-hazardous products, electrical and electronic equipment, and non-packaging items. The EPR regulations have introduced multiple fees, such as Kenya shilling 150 per item on all imported packaging materials and finished goods. 5% fees, which will be withheld by NEMA, which is National Environment Management Authority, from registered producer responsibility organizations. An annual operating license of Kenya shilling 100,000 and a registration fee for producers and PROs. The Kenya shilling 150 per item fees on imported packaging material will be paid in addition to the fees paid to the PROs for post-consumer waste collection management. Just to elaborate further, manufacturers will have to pay producer responsibility organization a fee to manage the post-consumer waste on the same item that paid Kenya shilling 150 on importation. This amounts to double taxation. At a fee of Kenya shilling 150 per item, and with the broad categories of goods used in manufacturing that are targeted, the cost of production in the alcoholic beverage industry is going to increase by 70%. 70% is a cost that is quite high, not only on our industry, but even on other industries. So we can only imagine the impact that that would have on us. An increase this big would result not just in an unreasonable increase in the price of products, but ultimately force manufacturers out of business. The regulations are worded ambiguously and so broadly that they are likely to be enforced in a way that will roll back all the gains made in trying to make Kenya a country where it is easy to do business. Kenya has already made tremendous gains in reducing sustainable waste by making the bold decision to stop the manufacture, sale, and import of the previously common thin plastic materials. We support the establishment of a framework to have all manufacturers register as individuals or collective producer responsibility organization, but within a reasonable cost. The Kenya shilling 100,000 per year should be rolled back to the Kenya shilling 10,000 per annum, as had been proposed when the draft regulations were shared with the public for comments. In addition, existing take-back scheme should be exempt from the cost associated with NEMA registration and annual operating license. This will encourage more self-regulating scheme to operate in Kenya for the good of the environment. We also request that the Kenya shilling 150 per item be removed because it amounts to double taxation. In addition, we propose that the amount of 5% being withheld from the PROs be deleted from the regulation, since it is going to increase cost of products and NEMA will already have adequate funds collected from the annual operating license and registration fees. We find the fees disproportionately high as they fail to consider the economic realities currently faced by the manufacturing sectors. Manufacturers are struggling to deal with the unprecedented increase in the cost of doing business, increased demand to borrow loans to pay taxes, amid declining sales driven by reduced disposable income. ABAK is ready to continue supporting sustainable waste management initiatives and collaborate with the government on such matters. A great deal of investment in infrastructure and consumer sensitization is required to achieve 100% sustainable waste management. This can only be achieved over time and through strong collaboration between government and all sectors of the